Moving on to that, I think kind of like what we talked about before, and I think one of the points that we talked about that I think is important, especially when you look for friends, but just in people, is self-awareness. I think it's so important to be self-aware of yourself, self-aware of yourself. And I think the reason for that is that in this world of like not just shallowness, but all just technological, whatever, we can like kind of look at everything, kind of, we can like project an image of ourselves so much that we start to believe in the image rather than to see ourselves as we are. Having a self-awareness is so important. So what do you think about that? What do you think about self-awareness as a skill in the modern age? Do you think people have it? Do you think you have it? And how do you look for that in people or even in yourself? How do you know if you're self-aware or not?
That's a very good question. That's a tough one, actually.
I can go if you want.
Yeah, probably. I need a minute for sure.
Yeah. So for me, right, the reason, and I think this is so hilarious, right, because I think I'm very self-aware of myself, because of the poetry, because of the writing, whatever. But that doesn't help me go through those emotions. So I might be self-aware that, okay, right now I am like going through it, like whatever. I know exactly why I'm going through it. It's because of this situation, and it's because I reacted like this to this, and I know why I reacted like this to it. I think this person is thinking this, but I know they're not thinking that. I can break it down on so many levels, psychologically, intellectually, like all of that. But that doesn't help me because I still feel those emotions. I think a lot of things about self-awareness, and I think a lot of people that I see that are self-aware, it's just like emotional honesty. It's like emotional intelligence almost, It's like being able to see yourself as you are with all your faults, because I think a lot of people in these days, they want to hide themselves. Not hide themselves, but like cover themselves up with an image that they think it's more palatable to you, that you're more likely to accept. But self-awareness comes in looking at yourself, right? And it is hard to say if you're self-aware or not, because everyone thinks they're self-aware, but really they're not, because they're not actually taking into account how they're affecting the people around them. They're just really thinking themselves. It's a very thin line between self-awareness and self-indulgent. You can be self-indulgent, just think about yourself, and everything is you, me. But self-awareness, understanding that, looking at yourself for your faults, for all the things that come into like in your life, and the role you play in your own suffering, the role you play in your own death, like downfall, and your own disappointment. And being able to take responsibility for that and being like, that's on me. That's why I'm always saying like I'm an idiot, because I do stupid stuff, but not because I'm actually an idiot. I might be an idiot, but it's like I'm aware that there are parts of me which are undeveloped, and I'm still developing that. And I think to even change the question a little bit, do you think self-awareness is something you develop, or do you think just something you just have naturally?
So yes, I have my answer now. Thank you very much for giving me the time to think. So I think self-awareness was actually something I did not have as growing up, because I think I was a people pleaser. I think I used to always was a people pleaser, still to an extent a people pleaser. I do things as per what people want. You want to come for this? Yeah, sure. But it's actually an inconvenient time for me, but no, I'll come, because for me, like it's important that I make you happy. Or like, even for example, something as small as like, just everything is about other people and not about me. But I think what really helped me be more self-aware is went through quite a tough time, the last couple of years. You know a lot about my stuff, but I think in particular after I actually made the change from Singapore to Indonesia, the first change I ever made was that it was a bit of a shock. COVID happened, and I just was forced to come back to a country that I didn't know that I want to live in or not. And I started therapy. As cliche as this sounds, therapy actually made me more self-aware. I went through 18 sessions with my soul coach, and every day we worked on everything, everything in your Venn diagram of life. You have your personal relationships with yourself, your relationships with your family, relationships with your partner, but you also have, home life, and you also have your mental health, you also have your physical activity. Every single realm of your life, we worked on that, finances, work, everything. And I remember her telling me, okay, now from today we're going to kind of work on some of your blockers. So out of this circle of life, which ones do you think you excel at? Which ones are the things that you don't really excel at? And then, I think I told her a couple of my, blockers and stuff. And that's actually when I think working on that with her together, going on that journey with her, was kind of what made me a lot more self-aware. Came out of it, the 18 sessions knowing what I wanted out of life, you know? And that self-awareness was something I carried over here, because the moment you get, it's kind of like enlightenment, you know? For me, it's like, oh my God, like my opinion is the only opinion that matters. I actually don't have to think about other people. You know, I think, I honestly recommend therapy because it makes you go inward. It makes you think about yourself. It makes you think about uncomfortable situations. You have to open up about these like true thoughts and feelings that you never wanted to. And I think then you feel a lot more connected to yourself. But I would say one downfall of not downfall, but the problem with being self-aware is also, I feel like I've personally started to overthink a lot more. I feel like overthinking becomes such a big deal because I start thinking like, oh, but I did this, but I should have done this, but I should have done this. Like, I'm so self-aware now that I analyze every single part of all my decisions. Like, I overthink and I internalize and blah, blah, blah. So I think just also knowing when the balance again. When should I think about this versus it's okay. Like, if you were an idiot, so what? You know?
I've got a question on that, and when you're talking about therapy. What did that teach you? What did you come to terms with about yourself through that kind of experience that you went through?
That's probably need another minute, but can you tell me what you kind of thought of? Yeah.
So for me, right, I've come to terms with myself as I've grown older and older. It is weird too, because you mentioned about overthinking, and I think it's the same thing for me. I understand how my brain works a little bit better now, you know, like I understand that if you present to me a situation, I will take so much time trying to figure out that situation, even when it's a simple situation. Yeah. It could be like, boom, 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 get over it. But it's like, no, I'm going to try to figure out as much as I can, even to the detriment of myself, you know, to make sure that situation turns out good and proper. You know, and I think it comes in different forms, you know. Sometimes it comes with just processing emotions, you know. Like recently I've been going through a tough time. Yeah. And like, usually I'll just be like, everyone asks me, you okay? I'm like, no, I'm fine. Because I'm so used to making sure everyone else is fine. Because that's just the pressure that I put myself when I was a kid. To make sure my family was okay. Yeah. So they ask me if I'm okay. I'm like, yeah, of course I'm okay, even if I'm not. Because I don't want them to worry. Yeah. And I've come to terms with that understanding about myself. So now I'm allowing myself to be more open when it comes to emotions. You know, like I don't have to be, even if I know it's difficult for me to open up, I know my friends want to be there for me. So now, like, even so that comes to levels of that self-awareness, it's like, okay, cool. I'm self-awareness about myself, that I tend to just kind of shut down and kind of deal with stuff myself. But it kind of pushes people away because people want to be there for you and they want to care about you. Yeah. So it's like, okay, I've come to terms of opening up and letting them see me when I'm vulnerable and be like, actually, no, I'm not great right now, but I'll be okay. And letting them give them opportunity to help me because they want to do that as friends, you know?
That's a very good shot, because what I was also thinking even before you said all this was therapy actually taught me that it's okay to ask for help, you know? Ask for help from your therapist. That starts with that, obviously, but then because you kind of understand that, oh, there are people out there to help me, you know, if I'm not having an okay day, if I'm not having an okay life, you know, there's people out there that, I mean, they care about me on a fine, obviously therapy is an exchange of energy, but then that also taught me that, you know, whoever I am friends with, probably there's that relatability that probably to an extent person A is also going through the same thing person I'm going through. So I'm going to try and be, you know, more open to other people about my thoughts and feelings the same way. If I can be open with my therapist about my thoughts and feelings, I can start opening up to my friends and tell them what I'm truly feeling. So just feeling more okay to open up, ask people for help, and
So you mentioned quite a few times soul therapy and all these different things there, and I know we've had this conversation about spirituality and religion and all these different aspects, and for me, right, and okay, so for me it kind of all started when I started meditating, right? When I started meditating, I started looking at all these different esoteric ways to view things. So it wasn't just like the basic kind of like known knowledge. It was like, okay, what else is out there in the world? What is some of the stuff that I don't understand about the world that exists, and how can I implement that into my life? So it was like a lot of therapy, a lot of Carl Jung, a lot of all these different psychologists that looked at stuff from the kind of third world, right? I know we spoke about this. We spoke about spirituality. We spoke about religion. Can you first break down to me, how do you look at spirituality? What does that mean to you? What does that word mean to you? And also, like, how does that relate to religion and all that stuff for you?
Yeah.